Everyone thought Daniel had already won at life. At 32, he had what most people spend decades chasing: a stable job, a comfortable salary, a predictable routine, and a future mapped out to retirement. His apartment was warm in winter, cool in summer. His fridge was always full. His weekends were quiet and safe. No surprises, no risks. And yet, every morning when his alarm rang at 6:30, Daniel lay in bed staring at the ceiling, feeling a weight he couldn't explain. Comfort, he would later realize, was suffocating him. At work, his days blurred together. Emails, meetings, spreadsheets, polite smiles. He was good at what he did too good. So good that no one ever asked if he wanted more. Promotions came with slightly better pay and slightly bigger responsibilities, but the work itself never changed. It never challenged who he was or who he could become. One evening, after another 10-hour day, Daniel stayed late while the office emptied out. The lights hummed above him. Outside, the city moved with purpose, people chasing something, even if they didn't know what it was. He looked at his reflection in the darkened window and asked himself a question he had avoided for years. Is this it? That night he couldn't sleep. Memories surfaced: childhood dreams of building something meaningful, of creating work that mattered, of testing his limits. Somewhere along the way, those dreams had been traded for safety, for approval, for comfort. The next morning, Daniel did something terrifying. He resigned. His manager stared at him in disbelief. Friends thought he was reckless. His family worried quietly, asking if he was sure, reminding him of bills, responsibilities, and the risks of starting over. Daniel nodded, listening to every concern because they were all valid. But he walked away anyway. The first weeks after leaving were brutal. There were no meetings to attend, no deadlines imposed by someone else, just silence and doubt. Daniel woke up with a knot in his stomach, questioning whether he had made the biggest mistake of his life. His savings began to shrink. Rejections arrived faster than opportunities. Ideas that once felt brilliant crumbled under scrutiny. More than once he hovered over job listings, tempted to crawl back to the comfort he had abandoned. But comfort, he reminded himself, had cost him his fire. Daniel decided that if he was going to fail, he would fail honestly working towards something he believed in. He poured himself into learning, experimenting, and building a small business around a skill he had always loved but never dared to pursue seriously. His days were longer now, but they felt different. Harder, yes, but alive. There were setbacks. Months where progress felt invisible. Moments where fear whispered that stability had been traded for struggle. Yet with every challenge, Daniel noticed something changing inside him. He was becoming resilient. Problems no longer sent him into panic, they forced him to think. Mistakes no longer crushed his confidence, they taught him. Each small win, no matter how insignificant, felt earned, real. 1 year later, Daniel's life didn't look impressive from the outside. He lived in a smaller apartment. He drove an older car. His income fluctuated wildly. But something priceless had returned: purpose. He woke up excited, not because life was easy, but because it was meaningful. Then, quietly, things began to shift. A client recommended him to another. A project he had poured his heart into gained attention. Opportunities that once seemed impossible started knocking. Not overnight, not dramatically, but steadily. 2 years after walking away from comfort, Daniel stood in a room filled with people who valued his work, not because of his job title, but because of the impact he created. His income surpassed what he once earned, but more importantly, his confidence was unshakable. He knew now that he could survive uncertainty. He had proof. Greatness, Daniel learned, isn't about instant success or public applause. It's about choosing growth over ease, purpose over predictability, faith over fear. Looking back, he understood the truth most people never confront. Comfort is a beautiful place, but nothing grows there. It lulls you into believing that safety is the same as fulfillment, that surviving is the same as living. Daniel didn't walk away from comfort because he hated it. He walked away because he wanted more. And in stepping into uncertainty, struggle, and risk, he stepped into the person he was always meant to become. Greatness wasn't something he found. It was something he earned, one uncomfortable choice at a time. Thanks for watching.